Good morning. Here we go again. Here we go again. Whenever I say that, it sounds like I'm not excited to be here, but I am excited to be here. So it's more like, here we go again. Also, my mic seems particularly loud this morning. Huh, that's weird. It's only set at 45. Who knows? All right. Settle in here. Shake it out. Good morning, Wilo Gamer Pro. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sir. Good morning, Oblivious. How's it going? We're going to give day 8 a try here. We'll see how this goes. I haven't heard as much about day 8, but from what Pablo has told me, it just gets harder after day 6. And day 7 was pretty hard. Day 7 part 2 was pretty hard. Got some pep today on my way to grocery store. Nice, let's go. Dude, grocery shopping, like bringing home a grocery haul, like as a kid, you don't understand how exciting it is actually to kind of hit the store, restock the pantries, restock the wares, you know? It's actually kind of exciting stuff. I saw you did a stream yesterday evening. Yeah, I was wanted to work on my buy me a coffee side a little bit last night, so I came downstairs and fired it up. I mean, most of the time if I'm gonna work on something and my kiddos aren't around, you know, like they're not up and kind of around me and what I'm doing, then I'll usually turn the camera on, you know. If I'm gonna, if I know I'm gonna be there for an hour or more. I'd like to move the camera just a little, just a hair. Just a hair. That's better. That's better. Ladstron, random question. Isn't it annoying having the window be so small so it fits on stream? Oh, for sure. I mean, I have you can't see it, but like I have one, so I have OBS on my left monitor, and then I have my terminal on like a part of my other monitor, and then the other half of my monitor is where I use like Discord and my lo-fi generator and that kind of thing. So I do have extra real estate if I need to or really want to use it, but yeah, 100%. It's not the most like I wouldn't say, hey, if you're programming at work, you should only use, 2/3 or a third of your monitor or half of your monitor. That probably isn't the most productive setup. But when it comes to making content, it's more about engaging with you all than it is about having the most productive dev setup, you know? So, the sacrifices I make for you all. uh, so yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. But it's really not it's really not it's really not that big a deal. You get used to it, you get used to it. You get used to the constraints that you placed on yourself. But you point out a very astute observation. Hey, what's up, I Love Lamp? Good to see you, man. Came back from school. No, my member is gone. Oh, dude, that sucks. But hey, first of all, I know your member badge is gone, but don't feel obligated to actually be a member, right? So you don't have to be a member. But I appreciated you being a member while you were a member. let's see, we need to make a directory cmd 08. That. And we need to eat our orange. Good morning, David. How are you? Good to see you, man. Did you code your lo-fi generator? No, this is the lo-fi generator was built by a gentleman. I think he's from Australia is where he's based out of. I'm not 100% certain. When I bought him a coffee on his Ko-fi site, it was in Australian currency. So I think he might be Australian. I'm not 100% certain, but his name's Dylan Turner. I think he's still a developer. I really haven't found, like, I've sent him a couple emails asking him, like, or first of all, I sent him a couple emails just saying, hey, really enjoy your project, yada yada yada. I even invited him, like, if he wanted to come on stream and talk about like how he built it and whatnot. But I've never heard back from him, and I've yet to find anywhere on social media where he's currently active. But this is the guy that built it. It took a while to track him down, though. I'll tell you what. He doesn't attribute himself on the Lo-Fi Generator website. Like, you can't find his contact or any of his information on here. But I finally tracked him down. I think I tracked him down through Twitter or something like that. Pretty cool thing he made. I'm very appreciative of it. Let's see, we're doing day 8, so we'll go ahead and open that guy up. Stefan, you didn't pin your welcome message? Oh, I did not. You're right. Thank you very much for reminding me. You guys are keeping me on track. Let's see. Good morning. Let's see. We are going to drink coffee, try to solve this Advent code problem, and spend too much time yapping. Come join us if you are new here. I typed if you are new year, and what I said meant is if you are new here, try commands for more context. There you go. Did I miss every day of Advent of Code? No, I don't think you missed every day. I thought you were here for some of it. I don't know, maybe I'm mistaken. Good morning, Danny. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. No, I think you were here for some of it. We need to download our problem. AOC, download. Don't forget to update the folders. Day 8. That. Wonderful. Fire up NeoVim. Yeah, I was, but only for the first days. Ah, no worries, man. No worries. I mean, you got a life. I mean, I got a life. You got a life. Well, it's almost New Year. It is almost New Year. Actually, my family's coming to town we're hosting again. We hosted for Thanksgiving, and we're hosting some folks again for Christmas. My family actually gets into town, I think, on the 20th? The 19th or the 20th. My family comes to town. And then I did take off from work all the week of Christmas. And I might take off the following week. I might take off the week of New Year's too. So I should be around quite a bit this end of the year. I've got a few wrap-up videos I'd like to put on the YouTube channel for the end of the year. Like, I'd like to review all the projects that I've done this year that I'm super proud of. Yeah, maybe like some predictions or maybe some goals for 2026 or something. Yeah, so I still have some content I want to make before the end of the year, but we are quickly approaching 2026. So if you're not, you should definitely be spending some time thinking about what it is you want to accomplish in 2026. I think this is a great time of year to reflect on what you did in 2025, take stock of where you are, and try to have some idea of where you want to go from here, you know? Hey, good morning, you lads. Hey, I saw you became a member, man. Thank you very, very much for doing that. You did not have to do that, but that is very, very kind of you. So thank you very much. Good morning, Born to Shine. How are you doing? Thanks for being a member, man. You the man. Good morning, Butterscotch. Good to see you. I was actually streaming last night, Butterscotch, and I did something horrible. I changed into insert mode and spammed backspace. And the moment I did that, I immediately thought of you. I thought, no, Butterscotch would be so ashamed of me right now. Lazarus, I want to really give coding a go in the new year. That's my resolution. Oh, I love that, man. What a wonderful resolution. You can most definitely do that. And I know I personally would love to root you on in that journey. So I think that sounds like a wonderful goal for 2026. I love lamp. Look above. Let me see. Yeah, I what? Hold on. Last year for New Year's, we came to Japan until tomorrow morning at 4 or 5 a.m. to catch the plane to Germany again, then France. It was nighttime already when we arrived. Nice. Well, that sounds like a wonderful New Year's. You got to visit 3 different countries in a day. You went to more countries during last New Year's than I've been to in my entire life. Bro, using Docker, Go, and Lambda is legit. That sounds like a nice stack. I've never really used Lambda much. That's the AWS, right? That's the AWS service. It's like their serverless function service. I've never used it before. Rampla. Good morning. Good morning, Rampla. Good to see you. I love Lamp. As in, we had connecting flights. Ah, yeah, well, hey, still got to be on an airplane, man. How amazing is our airplanes, right? Like, I mean, we take it for granted now, but what a miracle that is. We literally are flying hundreds of miles an hour through the air above the earth. It's fucking nuts, man. I think you have to mentor people in 2026. I don't know if I'm deserving to be anybody's mentor, but I'm always happy to give advice. I'll always give you the honest advice, and most of the time, I'll give you the advice as if I was talking to my future sons when they're in a similar predicament. This is like practice for me. But yeah, I'm always happy to give advice. I don't know if I'm empowered to be a mentor, but I'm always happy to offer my thoughts, even if my thought is, I'm not sure what I would do. Using Docker for Go is like using Docker for Docker. Well, I'm not really sure what ULAS is doing with Docker and Go, Maybe he just meant like he likes using Go to build his applications, but he likes using Docker to deploy them and host them, which is I mean, that's what I like to do. I mean, that's what I did with my static website that I built with Go. And that's what I do with all my .NET web applications. I build them into a single file app, or publish them as a single file, and then I use a container to run them. I don't really have anything, I think, deployed on bare metal at the moment. It's all running in containers. Buying currency in an I think that's a Minecraft server, is so bad. Me on a coding blocks Minecraft server paying $500. Woo, boy. Well, I can't judge you because I have 2 sons, and they're both hardcore Fortnite players. I mean, I like Fortnite too. But they've been playing Fortnite for a very long time, and I've spent way too much money on Fortnite skins. Like, we're talking like definitely hundreds of dollars over the course of their lifetime, at the very least. So I can't really judge you. Good morning, Root Monsters. How's it going today? Yeah, dude, it's going great. I'm healthy. I'm in my basement. It's cozy. I got my espresso over here. I got some oranges. I'm getting ready to take on Advent of Code. There is very little for me to complain about. I mean, you're kind of our mentor in a way. Well, I appreciate that. If I can help you guys, I'll be more than happy to help you. I don't know if I'd ever call myself a mentor, you know? That's not how I think about myself. Debut, bro, I love Fortnite. Yeah, Fortnite's a lot of fun. They've done such a good job of keeping that game like relevant and interesting over the years. A way better job than Call of Duty. The folks over at Call of Duty need to go have kind of a lunch and learn with the folks over at Epic. Get them on Warframe free to play. Is that on console or is that just on PC? Because they don't play on PC. Over 3 years, I think I got the cake. What is the cake? Awesome. The coffee is required. About to make mine now. Yeah, hell yeah. Get it. Let's go. Let's all get caffeinated. Let's do this. Never gotten to Fortnite. More of a Minecraft player. Yeah, we played a little bit of Minecraft when my oldest was like, 3, 4 years old. We played quite a bit of Minecraft, and he still does like hop into Minecraft every now and again. But my participation in playing Minecraft has definitely fallen off over the years. In my opinion, I feel like the only reason Fortnite is so popular today is because of the collabs. Yeah, I mean, the collabs definitely help continue to breathe new life into the game. That's definitely important, right? It makes the game feel like a new game over and over again. I think, though, they've done a wonderful job at actually evolving the actual game, right? So, like, they added new movement mechanics. They created a zero builds version of the game for us, like people that can't figure out how the hell to build. They just introduced a new thing called simple edits for building recently. I mean, I think they've definitely done a good job of making the game and keeping the game interesting and culturally relevant. But the game is also like grown in terms of the actual gameplay, which I think is a positive. Rample every console and PC and crossplay. Oh, nice. Okay, well, I'll have to check that out. Warframe. Warframe. All right. We should probably figure out what's going on with day 8, part 1, because we only have so much time, and we probably want to maximize the amount of time we have to struggle through. So, have you seen all the React CVEs? Had to pass my site 5 times in the past 2 weeks. I did see. I saw the first one, and then I saw that they found like two or three more. I thought it was 2 more. But I guess it kind of makes sense for them to find more after the first one, because if I had to guess, after the first exploit's found, I would imagine that a bunch of security people flock to the repo and they just start picking that shit apart. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes sense that you would find some follow-up ones after the first one. I think the worst storyline out of the React CVEs is the fact that Cloudflare tried to help people by trying to mitigate the vulnerability through their infra, and then they ended up taking themselves down with the implementation of the mitigation. Like, that just seems like such a shitty way to go. Like, not on Cloudflare, not that Cloudflare did anything wrong. Cloudflare was trying to do the right thing. It's just unfortunate that they ended up creating turmoil and pain for themselves while in the effort of trying to help others, which really, really sucks. Rob Reiner was found Dead 2 days ago, and his wife. Oh, that's horrible, man. There's another famous actor that they found had passed away recently too. The guy that played, yeah, that's really awful. They've his name was, I think his name was Patrick Green. Yeah, Patrick Green. He was the Pulp Fiction. Um, let me see if I can find a picture of him. I know his last name was Green. Peter Green. That's what it was, not Patrick. Peter Green. This guy. I think it's so sad when you have people that pass away that early. He was only 60, you know? And as somebody who's 32, 60 doesn't seem that old anymore. Yeah, yep, the mask guy, exactly. Yeah, it's super terrible when stuff like that happens, you know? People leaving the earth before their time. I mean, I guess in some ways it was their time, you know, if you believe that sort of thing. It was their time, but at the same time it's very tragic because it just seems like, man, you're so young. I mean, I know when you're 18, 60 seems old. When you're 32, 60 seems like you're just getting started, basically. You know, especially if you're someone like me who's like, I'm probably not going to have the opportunity to retire till I'm near that age, right? I'm going to be in like my 50s, my early 50s, maybe late 50s by the time I get to retire. And to think about passing away at that age is just, yeah, that's not a fun thought. Not a fun thought at all. I know we're having a lot of positive vibes this morning. A lot of positive thoughts. On a more positive note, let's get in the holiday spirit and let's solve some Advent of Code. Not to minimize those folks, the loss of those folks, but let's see. Solve part 1 with example input. Do expected. We'll just set that to -1, and we'll say, yep, looks good. All right, Copilot, Silencio. Let's see, solution is going to be github.com/StephenFreeborn/advent of code 2025 CMD08. All right, go test CMD08. Obviously it's gonna fail, and that's okay. All right, time to read. What's the problem here? Also, let's get Excalibur ready, so if we need to, we're prepared. Root monsters. Not if you do it right. You're a software dev, you could be making millions. I would love to make millions, man. I would love to have some sort of like micro. I don't want a big business. I know that. I don't want a big business with a lot of employees and a lot of overhead. But man, if I could have a small, you know, micro SaaS or several micros, if I could do something like Peter Levels, have you guys heard of him? Levels.io. Um, he's kind of popular on like tech Twitter. He was actually on the Lex Friedman podcast this year. But if I could have like a kind of a setup like him where I have two or three websites that make me, I don't know, even an extra $1,000 a month, I'd be happy with. You know, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to necessarily be life changing money, but so far I've yet to find anything that I feel like would be a good idea that people would pay me for, and I would also be excited to actually build and run. But yeah, that would be wonderful, Root Monsters. Thank you for manifesting those thoughts. Look above if you didn't now. Also, I think I love layup. If you want me to look above, you need a members badge. That's what I think. If you want me to look above, you need a members badge. I'm just kidding. While I was literally coding a forward script Discord bot for my Discord server to protect myself from spam bots, I literally got my first ever spammed gambling scam in my Discord for that day. Oh, that's terrible. Danny, how long it took you to get comfortable with NeoVim? It probably took me, I don't know, 3 weeks before I felt like I stopped tripping over my fingers, and then probably another couple months where it felt supernatural, maybe, and maybe another month. It just kind of happens gradually, and even now I'm not super, like, I'm comfortable, but I'm not very good at using Vim motions efficiently, if that makes sense. So like I can use Vim motions, but as Butterscotch points out, a lot of times I'm very inefficient in my keystrokes. So one of these days I'll get better. Root Masters easily doable though. Just time and investment and finding the inspiration. I don't know. I push back a little bit on it. I get your sentiment of like you can do it, which I love that. I love that attitude. Definitely I can do it. I think I don't know how easily doable though it is. You know? It's definitely doable. I wouldn't necessarily though call it easy. If I didn't hear the joke about the buy a member thing, I would immediately buy membership. Oh no, I've completely ruined my opportunity. Alright. Equipped with a new understanding of teleporter maintenance, you confidently step on to the repaired teleporter pad. You rematerialize on an unfamiliar teleporter pad and find yourself in a vast underground space which contains a giant playground. Across the playground, a group of elves are working on setting up an ambitious Christmas decoration project. Through careful rigging, they have suspended a large number of small electrical junction boxes. An enclosure housing electrical. Okay. Nothing special there. Their plan is to connect the junction boxes with long strings of lights. Most of the junction boxes don't provide electricity. However, when two junction boxes are connected by a string of lights, electricity can pass between those two junction boxes. Elves are trying to figure out which junction boxes to connect so that electricity can reach every junction box. They even have a list of all of the junction boxes positions in 3D space. Your puzzle input, for example. Okay, so these are my coordinates, this is my example. So let me copy that real quick. So already I see one problem I have is I need to parse this, right? So that's the first problem. I need to parse that. How did I start recording a macro? This list describes the position of 20 junction boxes, one per line. Each position is given as XYZ coordinates. So the first junction box in the list is at X equals 162, Y equals 817, and Z equals 812. To save on string lights, of course, because, I mean, elves, why wouldn't elves be stingy with their lights, right? The elves would like to focus on connecting pairs of junction boxes that are as close together as possible. According to straight line distance. Okay, why is this linked? And also, how do you, how do you, oh. The Euclidean distance between 2 points in an Euclidean space is the length of the line segment between them. Euclidean space is the fundamental space of geometry intended to represent physical space. So that's our 3 dimensions, basically. So this is what they want. This is what they want us to use to calculate the distance between the points. And this is 2 dimensions. 3 dimensions is basically the same thing. It just looks like this. So we just take the different parts of the coordinates, we get the distance, we square it, and then we add those together, and then we take the square root of the sum. So we basically have to implement this, and then we have to calculate this between the points. I think someone just subbed, but I can't tell. Duck, I think is your name. Let me replay that. There was so much white on the screen, it was hard to see. I apologize for that, sir. Let me give you a shout out. Let me give you a shout out. Yeah, Duck. That was his name. Duck, thanks for subscribing, man. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Alright, back to this. Okay, so that's how we're going to calculate the distance. So we need to remember that. We're going to have to implement this at some point. Alright. In this example, the 2 junction boxes which are the closest together are 162, 817, 812, and then 425, 690, 688. By connecting these 2 junction boxes together, because electricity can flow between them, they become of the same circuit. After connecting them, there's a single circuit which contains 2 junction boxes, and the remaining 18 junction boxes remain in their own individual circuits. Now the 2 junction boxes are closest together, but aren't already directly connected, are 162, yada yada yada. After connecting them, since 162 is already connected to another junction box, there is now a single circuit which contains 3 junction boxes and an additional 17 circuits. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to draw this a little bit. So essentially, I'm just going to use 3 boxes to keep this simple. But essentially, if this is our first junction box, let's call that 1. Why is that so small, dude? So tiny. There we go. So if you have 3 junction boxes, right? I mean, essentially what we're doing is we're basically building a graph is what we're doing. So so let's say these 2 are here and the third one's over here. If we calculate the distance between all of these 3, because they can all be connected to each other together, we would connect these 2. Like this. So now these are connected, and this is a circuit. Whoops. So this is a circuit. And then we still have this guy over here, which is its own circuit. This process continues for a while, and the elves are concerned that they don't have enough extension cables for all these circuits. They would like to know how big the circuits will be. So they want to know the size. So they want to know how many junction boxes are in a circuit is what they want to know. After making the 10 shortest connections, there are 11 circuits. One circuit which contains 5 junction boxes, one circuit which contains 4 junction boxes, 2 circuits which contain 2 junction boxes each, and 7 circuits which then each contain a single junction box. Multiplying together the sizes of the 3 largest circuits produces 40. Your list contains many junction boxes. To connect together the 1,000 pairs of junction boxes which are closest together, afterwards, what do you get if you multiply together the sizes of the 3 largest circuits? So basically, we have to figure out which connections are the closest to each other. Then we have to connect the first 1,000 closest connections, or put them into a circuit, or build them into circuits essentially. Okay, so here's the thing that's kind of tricky about this is that let's add a few more of these junction boxes to my drawing here. The tricky part about this is that at times, based on what they said, let's see. So this, like these two, you're connecting the shortest connections. So while this was the shortest to begin with, let's make this a little bit further apart just for, while these two were the shortest to begin with, now the shortest connection exists between 3 and 4, right? So you wouldn't connect 3 and 4 to the existing circuit, right? You would connect 3 and 4 together, in which case now you have 2 different circuits, right? Now, if it just so happened that after that, you find out that 2 and 5 are the next closest connection, now you connect 2 to 5, and now you've essentially created a larger circuit, right? And this theoretically can happen with not just a single connection, because like 5 could theoretically be attached to 4 already, right? So you could have something like this, where then you end up attaching 5 to 2, right? So we're basically building up you can see this structure. This is basically a tree. And so your junctions form the edges, right? They're the leaves, essentially. Or no, I guess it would be edges, probably, wouldn't it? This is going to be kind of hard. I think conceptually I understand what we're doing. I don't think programmatically I am 100% certain how to execute this, but I'm just going to take it one problem at a time. So the first 2 problems I need to solve is I need to parse the inputs to coordinates, and then I need to calculate the distances between all those coordinates, and then I need to sort them in ascending order. So don't try to focus on solving the whole problem. Break it down into smaller problems and go from there. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is it actually reminds me a lot of, you guys ever use Obsidian? You last. What is this? Are you working concurrency or what? This is advent of code. Oblivious. In simpler terms, the hypotenuse. There you go. Okay, the hypotenuse. But the Euclidean difference isn't the same as the hypotenuse, right? I mean, that's not the same, especially in higher order dimensions, right? The distant you're calculating different things. You last. This is advent of code. Sorry, buddy. I just saw your message. This is advent of code. These are like coding challenges. Nadatali, thanks for subscribing. They're basically leak code style problems, but they're hidden behind a holiday themed story. MD, I've heard that day 8 is too much harder. Well, we're about ready to find out. It definitely seems tricky. But what I was getting ready to say is it reminds me, this idea reminds me a lot of what happens in Obsidian with your notes, right? Although you're doing this manually. Let's look at the graph. Yeah, it reminds me of this, right? So like each of one of these is a circuit. In the thing we're looking at right now, this would be a circuit, right? And this circuit can be connected to another, can become connected to another circuit, right? So it's possible that I could link one of these nodes from this circuit to this one, and now I have one big giant circuit. And you're sort of always needing to figure out what the root node is, because the root node is going to kind of tell you. I think the root. The thing is, I think based on the way they answered this question, I don't think I actually need to keep track of the nodes. I think I just need to keep track of how big is the circuit that this root represents, right? So if this root has, what is that, 10 connected to it, that's what I need to keep track of and be able to follow. But yeah, this seems it reminds me very much of Obsidian, just in conceptual terms of the structure that we're building. Note-taking with NeoVim like Obsidian. I use Obsidian for most note-taking reasons. I don't typically use NeoVim for taking notes, but I use NeoVim a lot for editing code, but not really necessarily for taking notes. Although if I had to bet, there's probably a NeoVim Obsidian plugin. If I had to bet. Bro, I need note taking with NVim. Huh? Yeah, I don't have any thoughts for you. No recommendations. 6-7 Alaska day 8. What you working on exactly? We are working on. The problem is in the link of my stream, but we are working on day 8, part 1 of Advent of Code. Yeah. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna have a type called coordinate. I don't know. We could call it a lot of things, couldn't we? Coordinate, and that's gonna be a struct, and we are gonna have a x. What's an x? A y. And a z. And then let's do func new coordinate is going to take in a line or a string. So we'll say line string. I guess I can just call this stir. That's fine. Stir. And then we are going to split it. So we'll say, let's see, parts equals stir or strings dot split. What does this take? It takes the string. It takes the separator. So we should have, let's see, if the length of parts does not equal 3, we should have 3 parts, right? And something's wrong. And in that case, I'm just going to panic for now. I know that's not the go way. Let's see, invalid coordinate. And then we're going to build up a new coordinate of x, y, and z. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to have x is going to be equal to, we're just going to ignore the parsing. So we'll say stir convert dot ATOI. We will take in parts at 0. And we'll do that same thing for y and z. Although I should probably double check. I'm not actually certain that's the right order. X, Y, and Z. Yep, so that is the right order. Okay, X, Y, and Z. And then we'll return X, Y, and Z. So again, we're just trying to focus on solving one problem at a time. We're not trying to boil the ocean. Which now means we should be able to get our input like this, file.read all lines, pass in our input, or actually this should be, let's call this file path. Excuse me, file path. And then we should be able to build up a list of coordinates. So we should be able to say coordinates is equal to a new slice of coordinate. And then we should be able to loop over line. Mahali, thanks for subbing. Appreciate you. It's very kind of you. And I think actually what we could do is we could do this actually instead. So let's do, instead of read all lines, let's for line range over file dot read lines, and we'll pass in the file path. This. And so this is going to be a string, and then we can say coordinates dot append new coordinate and pass in the line like this. And then let's just print this out. So now we should have our coordinates. Go command test. And I think that looks right. Let's see, let's verify how many lines do we have here. Just make sure we're getting all of them. So we have 19 lines. But we have 20 coordinates. Let's see, hold on. Oh, well, that's relative number. So we do actually have 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, we have 20 lines. 20 lines. Okay, so we are getting all of our coordinates. Wonderful. The next problem we need to solve is we need to calculate the Euclidean distance between all the combinations of the coordinates, right? Because all the coordinates can be connected to all the other coordinates. So what we'll do is I think I'm going to declare a method on the coordinate struct that given another coordinate, it will calculate how far itself is from that one, or by however you want to look at that. So let's come down here and let's actually move some from the top of my file below here, just so that's a little bit easier for us to see what's going on. So we have our new coordinate, we have our type. So let's add a new function and we'll call this, we'll give this a receiver type of C, which is of type coordinate. And this is going to be called distance from, and we'll pass in another coordinate. Let's call it neighbor. Neighbor, which is also a coordinate, and this will return an int. For now, we'll just return 0. So essentially what we want to do is at this point in our logic, we want to have 2 loops, I think, is what we want to do. So we want to say for I guess we'll do for I is equal to 0. We'll just do the classic for I and for j loop. So we'll say I is less than the length of coordinates, right? And we'll just increase I like this. And then we need to have another loop inside here that starts at j. We'll increment j, but we need to start, I think, 1 ahead, right? Go is so majestic. Yeah, I don't know if it's a majestic, but it is actually pretty pleasing to write. I mean, it's not overly complicated. It's pretty simple. It has a lot of nice functionality out of the box. Like, I think it's a nice language. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So let's call this, what we're calculating here is we're calculating what are we calculating here? I guess what we're doing is we're creating an edge, right? If we think about it that way, we're creating this. Hold on, where'd my drawing go here? If we think about it this way, we're creating this right here, right? So I'm just gonna use like a graph terminology. So I'm gonna do edges like that, and I'm gonna have a type edge, which we haven't yet declared. So let's come down here and say type edge struct, like so. And I don't know what do you call the two nodes of the, I guess we'll just call them, which I don't know, do we need to keep track of this? I don't know. I'm gonna keep track of it for now, and if we don't need it, then we get rid of it. So basically we want to keep track of start, I mean, it really doesn't matter, right? The language we use here. Yeah, we'll just do edge start, which will be a coordinate, and then edge end, which will be a coordinate, and then we'll keep track of the distance, which will be an integer. That's what we'll do. And so we're going to end up having an edge that we create. Yeah, new edge. Or actually, we can just new this up in line. That's fine for now. So let's say edge, and the start will be coordinates at I, and then the end will be coordinates at J. I know my loop is still fucked up, so I'll fix that in a second. And then the distance is going to be Rodrigo, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate that. Super kind. I know some people, I do know that sometimes people subscribe and they're not here in the stream, so if anybody is ever like, if anybody ever think this idiot, doesn't he know people can sub and not be in the stream? I do know that. I just, I don't know when that is the case, so I always thank everybody because I do appreciate it. Oblivious. I usually fall asleep by now, but from 0 to 10, how much backseating are you okay with, or do you do algorithm chatter after completing? We can definitely do. I don't want you guys to help me solve it. Like I'm okay with you guys giving hints if I get stuck or like nudging me in a direction, but I don't want y'all to steal my dopamine. I don't want you guys to steal my dopamine. I want all the dopamine for myself. Deboo, I'm still studying for final in 5 hours. Woo, boy. You better get some sleep, though. You don't want to walk into your final sleep deprived. I mean, that's awesome that you're grinding and studying, but being sleep deprived is never good for performance. Yeah, so what we need to do is we need to fix our loop here. So let's do number of coordinates equals length of coordinates. Finals while being a zombie is peak high school. It really is. It's peak high school. It's peak college too. Peak university days. DW, I'm a trooper. Ah, dude. Well, good luck, man. I wish you all the best. I want you to be successful for sure. So this actually needs to start at I plus 1. So we're just going to kind of end run this thing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a start, which is our coordinates I, and our end, which is coordinates J. So let's rephrase this to be start. And we'll rephrase this to be end. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can do start dot distance from the end. So we can calculate the distance there. And then we'll say edges dot append the edge we just created. And then for now, let's just format dot print line our edges. Let's see, this can be, okay, yep, let's do that, that's fine. And then we do need we need this because we're, I think that looks good. Now we just need to implement the distance from function. So we're gonna need some math here, aren't we? We're gonna need some math, some maths. Euclidean distance. So this is what we want to implement. But instead of like P1, Q1, P2, Q2, P3, Q3, we're gonna do, this will be like X1 minus X1, I think, right? That's how we do it. I don't know how I feel about this song. I kind of like it, but I'm not sure I like it. Yeah, we'll subtract the y's and the x's. So first things first is we'll say x diff equals neighbor dot x minus c dot x, I think, like that. And we'll do that for all of the different Manuel Rosa, love your chill content. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's super kind of you to take the time to stop in and leave such a nice comment. Really appreciate that. Personally, like those kind of loops as I to length by j to I exclusive. Feels worse but reads more easily. Reminds me of multiplication tables with the squares in the center diagonal. I don't think I've ever done a multiplication table like that. I hate looping in general. Like I hate having to write a loop like this. It just seems archaic. Although I know that under the hood, probably a lot of loops at least in C#, a lot of loops get lowered to this. But there's something really nice about this type of syntax. Or like in JavaScript, I love the for const I of array, you know? And then C# has for each. I love the for each loop. I don't know. Whenever I'm manually messing with an index, like whenever I'm manually incrementing or decrementing an index, I'm always thinking, here we go again. We're gonna introduce a bug somewhere. So let's do this. And let's actually do cx minus neighbor x. It's gonna be y diff, z diff. So y. C. Hey, what's up, Gun Highs? How are you? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, sir. I think I'm okay. I think I'm just gonna do. Let's do math. Sorry, that should be lowercase. Math dot square. No, I want to do math power. Yeah. So we'll do C by that. But why aren't you happy? Not enough arguments in call to math.power. Oh, we want a square. And this takes a float. So pow returns x, the base x exponential of y. Hold on. So what order do I need to give this in? Let's see. Go math dot pow example. So the base x and the exponent y. So x raised to y. That's what that is. Okay, so I have it right. Although this needs to be cast, so we have to say float. So we'll do float 64. This. And we got to do the same thing here. Float 64. This isn't even the hard part of the problem, is it? This is just to get us to the hard part of the problem. And then we have to add those together. So we'll do math dot square root of I guess do we need precision? I guess that's one thing I didn't think about. Do we need precision for the distance? I don't know. Like maybe it should be float. So I honestly don't know why it can't be, why it wouldn't have to be. It'd save us from having to do that. And then what we can do is we can say, okay, x diff plus y diff plus z diff. Right, so let's look back at our Wikipedia calculation. So we do the difference between the spots, or the dimension that we're looking at. We square it. Then we add all of that together, and then we square root it. So I think that's correct. So now let's see if this actually works. So we'll do go test. And it looks like that worked. Wow, there's a lot. Yeah. So each coordinate has 3 points, right? And then we have our distance. So I guess the question is based on how many coordinates. If I have 20 coordinates and they can all be connected to each other, how many would I expect to have? Length of edges. $190. Is that right? So if I have 20, and each one of them can be connected to 19 others, what is that? 20 times... No, that's not the right math. I'm not actually sure how many I should expect. This is combinatorial, right? Is what this is. So if I have a list of 10 values, how do I calculate the number of combinations of all those 10 values? This is calculated by summing the number of combinations possible for each subset size, which is equivalent to the formula of 2 raised to n minus 1, where n is the total number of items. So 2 to the power of... So in this case, mine would be 2 to the power of 20. Oh, that doesn't have a... I just want to make sure I'm calculating all the edges. 2 to the power of 20. No, that's not what I'm doing. That's the wrong... So let's just say if I have 3 of these, right? Peter, thanks for subscribing, man. Appreciate it. You have one of the most normal usernames I've seen on YouTube, Peter. Your username is as I think as no, maybe more normal than mine because my last name is kind of funny and my first name is spelled weird. Uh, but yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate it. So one can be connected to these guys. And then two can be connected to this, right? And then the last time, print this, and we'll do 2 is connected to 3, 2. So what is that? So we have 3 nodes, and we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, there's duplicates in here. So 2, 3, that's a duplicate. These two are connected, and they're connected here. So that's duplicative. So we can have 3 connected to 2. We can have 1 connected to 3. We can have 2 connected to 1. Why do I feel like there's more connections though that can happen? Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. I don't know why this is so hard for me to wrap my brain around. I want to make sure that I'm actually capturing all the possible edges. Let's see. How to calculate number of possible edges in a graph. To calculate the maximum edges in a simple undirected graph. Yeah, this is undirected. Use the formula n minus 1 divided by 2, which comes from n choose 2 combinations. At each edge connects a unique pair of vertices for a connected graph. So that would be this would be 19 divided by 2, which is 8 times n. Yeah, that'd work, right? So if we have 20, and we do 20 times 20 minus 1 divided by 2. Yeah, okay, so we are calculating all the possible combinations. Hopefully they're the right combinations. We are calculating all the total possible combinations. So now we need to sort them, right? So we have our edges, but we don't have them sorted. So what we want to do is we want to say edges dot, or no, I guess we want slices dot sort function. Sort func sorts the slice x in ascending order as determined by the CMP function. The compare function. This sort is not guaranteed to be stable. Should return a negative number when a is less than b, a positive number when a is greater than b, and 0 when a equals b. Okay, so this is basically like declaring a JavaScript sort. So we can do edges, and then we will say func. This is going to have an A, this is going to have a B, and then I think all we have to do, right, is we just return A minus B for ascending. That. Oh, and we also need to do int. In call to slices sort, S of type edges does not satisfy Oh, this is a generic, so we have to say edge. Or does this say a dot? Oh, these aren't ints. That's why. Sorry. This is an int. This is an edge. This is an edge. So then this would be a dot distance minus b dot distance, right? And then we need to cast this. Because those are floats. And then let's print our edges like this. And let's see if they're ordered. So 316, 321, 322, 328. Yeah, so that looks like it's sorting them. All right, so I think we have part of the problem done at this point, right? Or I mean, not. I shouldn't say that. We have solved some of the smaller problems of the problem. So we needed to parse these to coordinates, right? We need to calculate the distance between all the potential junction boxes. And then we need to sort them. And the reason why we need to sort them is because we're going to only make n number of connections. And they need to be the shortest connections, right? So in this case, we're doing 10 of the shortest connections. But in our actual input, they want us to do 1,000. 1,000 of them. So how do we establish the connection between the boxes? How do we represent that in our code? I guess we could have a map. Yeah, I guess we could use a map or something like that. Hello, Hi Young. I don't know if that's how you actually say your name. I'm going to say hi. I'm going to call you Hi. Because I don't want to mispronounce your name horribly. 6-7. Slicing the code into segmented code. Steven is quite the unk. I love that I've achieved unk status. Steven, that is simple graph theory formula. Oh, well, I guess it shows how much I know about graph theory. Oh, Wilo put. Oh, you guys put that formula in the chat for me. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, guys. 190 different vertices. Yeah. Or 190 different connections. Alf, I'm catching up on chat. Okay, I'm caught up. 6-7 the last. You almost got the graph done, but needs proportional math. I don't know what that means. See, I love lamp. I don't know what your proportional math comment means, but I think I'm on the right track. So at this point now, I just need to figure out basically how to build up the circuits is what I need to do now. And I think a map will work, right? I basically need to figure out, oops, that's the wrong window. I need to figure out how to represent this. So if this was the shortest connection, or if this was I guess the shortest edge, right? Because we're working with edges now. So we basically have a list of a bunch of these guys. Whoops. We have a bunch of these. And so now what I have to do, they're already sorted for me. Right? Whoops, gosh dang it. They're already sorted for me like this. And I want to start to build a circuit. So my first circuit is going to consist of the shortest connection, right? And then the next time through, so the next loop, the next time I iterate, I basically have to ask the question, okay, does this connection have any nodes that are in an existing circuit, right? So let's say this was 4 instead of 2. Then what I'd want to do is I'd want to just now have a circuit like this. So a circuit of size 3 junction boxes. But the thing is, I don't know if do I need to really keep track of all this, or do I just need to keep track of the size? Like if I go back to my obsidian example. I guess I sort of kind of need to keep track of both in some ways. This is one of those times where I just kind of lag out staring at a problem and thinking about it. So if you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing? This guy's just trying to find the edges of his capabilities of problem solving. Yeah. So how would I represent? That's the thing. I don't know how I would represent this. I guess at the very least, I know I need to loop, right? So let's just write that. So at the very least, I know I need to do this. I know I need to say for slice, or not slice, sorry, for edge. And I know I need to range over my edges. That's at the very least, I know I need to do that. And inside here, I need to do something with each edge. What I need to do, I'm not entirely certain about. I mean, I kind of sort of understand what I need to do, but not really. I basically need to combine, like, I basically need to combine them. Each edge is what I need to do, right? I need to tie them, figure out. Yeah. Maybe more coffee while I procrastinate some more on this. Good morning, 199. Good to see you. The way I solved this day was in a funnily simple way with likely subpar performance. Well, damn, I wish I would have taken a simpler approach then. Because I will happily trade subpar performance for a simple approach. 6-7 ratio and scaling. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, 6-7, but I'm glad you're here, man. I hope you're having a good day. Philo Gamer Pro, take a breath, refresh your mind. Yeah, I'm stuck because I know what I need to do, but I don't know how exactly to do it. Because what I'm thinking, let me just rubber duck for a minute. So what I'm thinking is that yeah, what I'm thinking is that whenever I pass in two edges, right? I need to be able to say, well, I think that's where I'm confusing myself. I actually don't think I need to deal with the edges. I need to deal with the nodes on the edges, if that makes sense. So when I come down here, I actually care about edge start and edge end. And so what I want to do is I want to like officially connect them in a circuit, basically, right? All the edges are theoretically the ratio scale isn't written yet, but that is just me doing math in my brain. I'm not even following the way you're thinking about this. Which is not probably a reflection of you. It's probably a reflection on me. It's just I'm having trouble thinking about my own solution. To also then try to think about how you would solve it is too much. It's too much for my brain. What is the advent of code meaning? Advent of code is here. Here I'll link you to the website, man. AOC. It's basically like leak code style problems, but dressed up in holiday themed stories. So it's kind of right on path for or sorry, it's right on theme, not path. It's right on theme for the time of the year here in the United States. At the very least, probably right on theme for some other countries in the world. Excuse me. But you basically solve kind of data structure and algorithm challenges through the month of December. A lot of folks are already done because actually there was only 12 days of problems, and so a lot of folks are already done. But I decided to split the problems up into their parts and do one part a day. So that's why I'm still doing it. An advent calendar for masochists. An advent calendar for nerdy people who like to solve problems with code and enjoy that. Dude, I know when I solve this though, I'm gonna be so excited because this is hard. At least it's hard for me. Ross, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate that. Your written code is making me think, is what I'm saying. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you're thinking. I'm glad the wheels are turning. Yeah, I need to do something with start and something with end, and I need to keep track of which node has the most things connected to it. Basically. I mean, would that work if I just built up a map and I said I don't think that would. If I just built up a map that said this parent I mean, essentially, the structure I have in mind in my head is this. This is the structure I have in my, excuse me, this is the structure I have in my mind, is circuits equals a map. Well, actually, we'll have a list, right? So what defines a circuit as a circuit? Well, a circuit has a root junction box. So every circuit is going to have a starting coordinate. And then from there, it's almost like a map of maps. Is that even something you can do? Yeah, it's almost like it's a cyclical structure. I don't know. I might go make coffee because I'm feeling stuck, and maybe some caffeine will help me unstuck me. You gonna rock some fireworks this year? For New Year's Eve or for Christmas? I don't have any plans to. Definitely, every node is connected to infinite black holes in the omniverse. Would the map cover all areas? I have no idea. I'm just talking out loud at the moment because I'm stuck. For some reason, I think I only need to keep track of the size. I don't know why I think that. So I guess let's go back. Let's go back to my drawing really quick because I think my brain just maybe conceptualized this. So the problem is, let's start over on this example that I have. Let's say we just have 4 junction boxes like this, right? And let's just say, for instance, keep things simple. Let's say the first connection we process is 1 and 2, right? Once we finish, we basically need to make one belong to the other, right? And there's probably a couple different ways we could represent this. But basically, we're going to have these two guys be connected. Oops. First loop is these guys get connected. Is this your pin code? 1, 2, 3, 4? Dude, wouldn't that be wild if your subconscious like leaked your shit? No, I promise it's not my pin code. It's not my pin code, guys. Guys, it's not my pin code. It's not. It's not. So yeah, okay. So okay, so I need to have a couple examples here. So let's have another edge, and let's have this edge be related. So let's say we have an edge like this that is 1 and 3, and let's say we have another edge that's 4 and 5, and let's say we have another edge that's 2 and 6. 2 and 6. Okay, so we're coming through here. Now 1 and 3, what do we want to do with 1 and 3? Well, it doesn't become its own circuit. It needs to get tied to this circuit, right? So what ends up happening is we end up doing this, where we say, right? It becomes that. Now the next time we come through, 4 and 5 are not related at all. So this becomes its own separate circuit. And then 2 and 6, well, 2 and 6 share a node in common. So that gets tied to there. Right? The problem is that this gets... I can't iterate through everything. Like, that's just going to be too slow. Right? So I can't every time I go through this, I can't say, okay, do either of these are either of these nodes in this graph? I mean, I guess I could. But see, at some point, these could connect, right? So let's say you're here, and let's say you have another connection that comes along, right? And now let's say you have an overlapping connection. So you have a 6 and 5 connection, right? Well, this means now this all becomes one giant circuit, right? This all becomes one giant circuit. And I don't think I'm any closer to solving it after I explained all that. At all. God damn it. So I don't know what that means. I know that that's a thing that can happen. I know that that's a thing I have to account for. But what does that mean to me? I don't know. All right, let's make some coffee, and maybe while I'm making the coffee, it'll come to me. Yeah, I mean, Chalks, the problem is I basically built myself a graph, but I don't know how to necessarily work with this graph in a way to solve the problem they want to solve. It's definitely a skill issue on my part, but I think I'm like right there. Like I'm right like my I can feel like I'm right on the edge of like I don't know. I don't know what am I missing? What am I missing? I think what I'm missing is I basically need a way to represent that this in this particular circuit, this edge is tied to this other edge. And then I also need a way to track the size of each circuit. All right, coffee break time. Coffee break time. I'm gonna just step away. I think I'm fixated. I need to take a little bit of a break. So let's get some coffee. Hey, Minister of Defense, good to see you. Happy Monday. How are you doing? I gotta blow my nose too. Control Shift. How do I? There we go. We're basically stuck at the moment, Minister of Defense. So you showed up at just the right time. But I think I can unstick myself. I don't think I need to go to the Reddit thread just quite yet. I think there's a chance that I can solve this without external help. I think. So let's get the coffee thing set up, and then we'll see if we can't figure this thing out. All right, to the coffee station.
Hello. There we go. Need our card up. It's not day 14. It's day 15. Right? It's day 15, yeah. It's 15th of December. Man, it's already the 15th of December, guys. This month is leaving us in the dust. But, excuse me. Those are bad manners. He has it at the tip of his tongue. He will solve it. I'm going to try to solve it. We can always give hints. Yeah, I appreciate the hints. I think for now I'm good on hints, but I think I just need to start writing some code, honestly. I think I'm at the point where I just need to start trying some things that I think might work. And do the plotting engineer approach. It would probably help if I had some formal background in some of this data structure and algorithm thing. I did take a data structure and algorithm course on Free Code Camp, but it's been a while. And I don't remember us covering anything like this. We're on day 15. Okay, day 15. We're back in Africa. We're drinking Ethiopian coffee again. So this is going to be a very floral coffee. The tasting notes are strawberry, sweet lemon, honey, and grapefruit. So we'll see how that goes. Hello, Renee. Thanks for being a member, man. Appreciate you. Steven, what's your honest opinion on AI benchmarks? Do you think they're accurate, or can everyone use them differently? Just curious. I guess my only thought on AI benchmarks is I think with like any evaluation and any benchmark, it probably can be gamed, right? So how much it means and for how long it means anything, I think is probably something to think about. I do think evaluations and benchmarking LLMs or any AI powered system, I think evaluations are actually far more important, and having a framework and a system for performing evaluations is actually far more important than the system itself in a lot of ways. especially if you want to design a system that you can provide users, or that you can provide confidence to users in the system. I personally don't spend a lot of time looking at AI benchmarks myself. Just they don't really matter too much to me. Loud noises. But if I was starting a company and I wanted to build some sort of AI powered service or tool, I would definitely have a sophisticated approach and a system to evaluate my service and measure its performance over time. That's the only way you're going to be able to make changes and make improvements that are actually know if the changes you make are making the system better or making the system worse. You have to have some sort of statistically sound way to evaluate it. It's very similar to, it's kind of weird for the software engineering world, because the software engineering world has been so used to deterministic processes and systems that they've never really had to deal with these probabilistic type of processes. And so it's been interesting to watch the software engineering community try to sort out how do you evaluate, how do you QA, how do you QC processes that aren't deterministic. But that's largely a solved problem. Like most other manufacturing or most other industries are not deterministic processes. So that's already been solved. So watching the software technology industry wrestle with that has been pretty interesting. It depends. Sorry, I'm just looking at your message. Depends on who's using it and how they're using it. Yeah, that's fair. I got to go upstairs and get more water. I actually think software engineering is a bad use case for AI. People are doing everything to make it happen, but it will just lead to disaster. I don't know. I think I'm a big fan of using AI and LLMs to make programming more efficient and coding more efficient just in general, in terms of like generating documentation, writing boilerplate code, making it easier to find answers to your questions. I'm not a super big fan of trying to use AI to replace engineers wholesale. That I'm not a big fan of. So I know there's going to be some, I know with any gain in efficiency, you're probably going to lose some jobs. So that's a fair trade-off to some extent. But this idea that you're basically going to have PMs write specs, and then you're going to have this team of agents take this spec and use it to build tests, build software, automatically evaluate the tests or the software against those tests, or evaluate the tests against that software, and do that all in an autonomous way. I don't know how I feel about that. Is it possible to do that? Probably. It sounds like a pretty interesting engineering challenge. But you guys probably have seen some of my shorts content on this. I personally think that building software is in some ways a very creative process. And so I think there's actually some intangible value to the experience of actually constructing the software that you sort of discredit when you just want to automate it away, right? It's like when they automated the production of food or automated the production of a lot of different goods and services. There is something you lose. I don't care what anyone says. It's why we all enjoy a home cooked meal versus going to McDonald's, right? McDonald's is cheaper and quicker, but there's something lost there in terms of quality and in terms of experience. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that doesn't matter. Users just care about the end product. They don't care about anything that goes into making it. And what I'm saying is maybe users don't. I disagree with that. I think users do care about. I think there are some users who care about the way the products and services that they use are produced. They like to hear about the stories and the people behind the things they use. But I do think there are... Shit, I lost my complete train of thought. I think there's users who care about the way things are made. But just like with the example I gave of a home-cooked meal versus McDonald's, there is something about the care and effort that somebody puts into something translating through to the end result. I personally really do care for those aspects, but I'm shown again and again that the masses do not. So I guess masses is probably an accurate description. The masses probably don't care, right? I mean, that's why McDonald's is a huge business. It's why people buy cheap furniture from IKEA. It's why, I mean, there is definitely users who care, and there's a lot of users who don't care, right? And so maybe what ends up meaning for engineers or for software in general is maybe it pushes the bottom down a whole lot, drives it to zero, right? Like everyone says, the cost of building software goes to zero, so there's a lot more software and it's a lot more available and it's a lot less expensive. But maybe that means that there's a higher band towards the top of the spectrum for people who are more of craftsmen in what they build. I mean, there's still the crazy thing is, like, there's still people who hand make cutlery, right? Like you can go out and you can buy a nice knife from the Hinkle brand, but there are still people that you can custom order cutlery from because it's handmade and handcrafted. So yeah, there's probably far less people who are making a living doing that, but it's still a thing, right? So I think that's where I guess in my mind, I think the whole human in the loop style of programming or coding, I think it has a longer tail than what people give it credit for. Also, layers of abstraction are arguably just as bad. That's it. That's fair. Users know the difference between good and bad software. Masses don't, but there's a lot to save. There's a lot to SWE besides specs. Everyone here probably has been assigned a feature with X specs, and midway through the building of said feature, you find flaws in said feature. 100%. 100%. Yeah, facts. Yep, unique UX facts. 100%. I got to run upstairs and use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back, and then we'll go back to the desk. I think some people would say that my take on the current state of software engineering and AI is that I'm just coping, and I'm really not, because I really don't care if LLMs replace the need for people who write code in a professional setting. I I really don't care. Like, I'll just move on, and I'll find different work that I enjoy, right? I don't think there's ever going to be a shortage of work in this world. I just feel strongly that there's something in software engineering beyond just, beat boop software, right? I think there's something to it that maybe I'm just giving too much credit. Maybe I'm being too romantic about it, and maybe I just enjoy it too much, right? AI won't replace software engineers, and if they do, it will likely be premature and will lead to issues. I think I would agree with that. I mean, we saw, what was that company? It was not a software company. It was a payments company. I want to say Klarna. Like, Klarna tried to replace a bunch of software, or not software engineers, but a bunch of support people with AI, and then they had to roll it all back. Sorry, I'm catching up on chat. People are quick to call AI slop, but a huge amount of human work is also slop. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that is a very valid point. AI gives a lot more love in its craft than most devs who are turning out feature requests and tickets. I mean, I don't know. I guess I haven't interacted with enough developers over the course of my career to make a judgment about that. So I'll definitely say that that's a possibility. Where AI helps a lot is I don't have to worry about precise syntax anymore. So, for example, I would just write methods in like a hybrid form of coding in English. So I think that's one of the most interesting ways to work with AI. But I'm not. I guess I'm just not. I haven't yet found the aspect of AI generating like whole complete solutions very compelling. Okay, to the office. Hopefully we can figure out this problem. I'm just going to start trying some of the stuff I have in mind.
And we're back. I think the big winners are going to be passionate devs who love building software with AI rather than instead of AI. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'd be okay with that world. Yeah, no judgment here. I don't think though I don't think I want to do software development in such a way that requires me just sitting and prompting. I I just don't know about you guys. I don't see the idea of a job where your primary work is talking to an LLM does not sound like a fun job. And if that's where the world is heading, I hate that future. Now, if I still get to play a role in the work, meaning I still get to do things while having the LLM help me, count me in. But if I have to just turn into you know, an inputter of text, basically, I'm a prompt engineer. If that's what all jobs eventually become, that sounds awful. It sounds absolutely awful. I think prompting is a bit of an oversimplification. I think of a lot it will be comparatively designing architecture, features, designs, etc. But what you're basically saying is then you're just spending all your days writing text. You're basically spending all your days writing out what you're describing is you're saying you're going to spend your days writing specifications and then you're going to hand them over to agents that are going to execute your specifications. I don't think I want to I just don't think that's how I want to work. Or we just have to build much better software. Software was never the vibe is real. Fair enough. It is not what you enjoy. Yeah, I just don't think that's what I want to do for a living. Yeah. And I think there's other people that are going to feel the same way in a lot of industries, right? I think if a lot of industries devolve to like, well, you're no longer a software engineer, you're a software engineer prompter. Whatever. I don't know what the new title becomes. Uh, I think, yeah, I think people, I don't know. Maybe I'll go try to be some. I don't know what I'll try to be. Something. Did you guys see Elon Musk said in a pod? I saw this yesterday. Elon Musk said in a podcast, Elon Musk won't. He basically said you won't need to work. Won't need to work in 20 years is what he said. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this was in some podcast he was on. Elon Musk predicts you won't have to work at all in less than 20 years. So maybe we don't even need to worry about this because robotics and AI are going to make it all not matter. It's probably more of a designed manager, product owner type of role. So let me ask you then this, like, is that what you guys want to be? You guys want to be technical product managers? Is that the role? Is that a role that entices you? And if it is a role that entices you, why are you not already a technical product manager? That already exists today as a role at companies, right? So I guess that's my question is like, if that's what software engineering becomes, is someone who's basically a describer of a product and a manager of a product, but understands the technical components of it, why aren't all these people just already doing that job? You know? Elon Musk's predictions come true, like the Hyperloop. Well, yeah, I would be interested to meet you all back here in 20 years. So in 20 years, I'll be 52. So I'll be interested to come back here when I'm 52 and talk to you guys and find out if we're all still working. See, today we cannot so immediately manifest our visions and designs. I guess what I'm saying is who care? Okay, timeline aside, timeline of how quickly you can manifest a vision or design. A technical product manager today works through engineers to accomplish visions and designs. Correct? Uh, so what? And so you're saying in the future, instead of working through software engineers, you're going to work through agents. That role is going to work through agents. So if people actually wanted that work, why wouldn't you just go become a technical product manager now? That's my point of some of this is like some of this conversation ignores the fact that people have preferences for the type of work they do, and just because we have tools that change how the work can be done doesn't mean people now want to do that type of work. I think is part of my thesis on this. It's like low code, no code tools, right? It's like we've had website builders forever. We've had website builders for 2 decades, and there are still front end engineers and there are still designers. Why is that? Right? Website builders for 2 decades, and we still have designers and front end engineers. Because not everybody wants to design and build a website, regardless of how easy it is to do. People think AI is a magic box, but it's not. Yeah, it's not. Root monsters. The process of building something can be simplified, but then if you don't understand the tech, it's pointless. If you have a complete top to bottom level understanding, I think it's okay. AI is just autocorrect. There's nothing there. I mean, there isn't really anything there. It's not sentient. As much as the tech bros would like us to believe it, it's not sentient. But I think the speed is important because it is a significant factor of the satisfaction we will feel in designing something. Today we can easily design something in theory, only tomorrow it can be real. Yeah, I disagree with that. I disagree. I think fundamentally it's the same thing. Like removing the I don't think the speed makes a difference. Kenneth Jonathan, thanks for subscribing to the channel, man. Appreciate you. Remember that point I brought up about libraries? I do not. Can you repeat it? I may have missed it in all the chat. Because website builders suck. I mean, they don't though. They don't. I mean, WordPress is a good experience. Squarespace is a good experience. I mean, there's like if you're a person who wants to build a website builder is supposed to be the unlock, right? How libraries were vilified for simplifying things and taking no skill. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a valid point. I think somebody the other day in a comment made a very valid point in one of my shorts. He said, it feels strange drawing an arbitrary line at LLMs as an abstraction that is bad, right? So his point is basically saying, well, we already use abstractions all the time when we're building software. And so if you just look at an LLM as another abstraction, right? Why is it any different than using Python versus using C? And I guess I do see as a valid point. It is somewhat of an arbitrary distinction, to some extent. So some of my feelings, I guess some of my feelings and some of my thoughts aren't completely rational at the point in time where I'm at now. It's just some of it's also just based on my own personal preferences and my own personal, I guess, my own personal desire for what I want my life to look like and what I want my work to look like. Nobody complained about libraries. That's just fake history. Well, I've never heard of anybody complain about libraries, but I can definitely see, I can definitely imagine a world, right, where people are like, oh man, you can just go to a place and read a book about that. That's too easy. Call it Bonnie code. Oh god. LLMs are not abstractions. Abstractions are deterministic, and LLMs are not. Yeah, I think that's a valid point. And I had commented back that I thought the analogy was a little weak, but I do take people's criticism of my viewpoint. Like I do understand it, and I do know that it's a valid criticism. And I guess my choice at this point in time is to be aware of AI tools, to know how to work with AI tools, but to not lose touch with the actual craft of building software, and then just see how the next 5-10 years plays out, and try to roll the best I can with the punches and hope it turns out okay. Good morning, Filthy Potato. How'd the drive go, man? Did you finish the drive okay? I order all of my food from Instacart. I haven't been to the grocery store in years. That's that is a lovely abstraction, is it not? All right, let's see if Steven can figure out this this problem. So I think my final decision is I'm gonna try to keep track of some sort of Yeah. I guess I'm going to try to keep track of the sizes, and I'm going to try to keep track of and I'm going to try to keep track of parents, I guess. Is that the right word? I mean, I think I'll just start with an array. So I'll say parents, maybe. And in this case, this can just be I guess this can just be a coordinate array. And then I think I'll just use the indexes of the edge. Well, I guess the thing is I actually know that what do I know? Every He's not Google, Ella. Kunar, how do you approach applying for jobs? Let's say applying for Golang backend jobs. Can you show us right now how you search for jobs? Oh yeah, for sure I can show you. I have a very sophisticated approach for doing job searches. It's very it's been refined over many years of trial and error and very sophisticated, high-level, complex research. So please hold on to your hats and probably get out a notepad because you're going to want to take notes on how I do this. It's very complicated. I'm kind of being a smartass. It's not that complicated. So what I do is I just go to wherever I live. So in this case, let's say I'm looking for jobs in Olathe, Kansas. And then I'll just stick in the title of the job I'm looking for. So let's do like QA automation, like that. And I'll usually search Indeed, and then I'll do the same thing on LinkedIn, is how I do it. These are the two places that I've had the most success at getting interviews and callbacks from. So that's what I use. I'm sure there's other good sites out there. So I'll do the same thing here, QA automation. And then I can narrow it. It's already narrowed to Kansas City Metro. And then I'll just start scrolling, man. And I'll just start saying, okay, does that look like a job that I could do? Like, I'll just click and be like, I'll scan the requirements. And does that look like a job I could do? Okay, great, apply. And I just spend if I'm seriously looking, I'll spend hours a day doing this, just applying, and I'll usually keep a list of what I've applied to. I mean, Indeed and LinkedIn make it pretty easy to see what you've applied to, and then go from there and hope I start hearing back. And if I was in like a desperate state, like if I was looking for a job, I didn't have a job, I actually probably would only do this in the mornings. Like, I'd either do this early in the mornings or late at night, but during the day, I would probably actually try to dress up and go to some actual businesses and try to get a job. But it probably wouldn't be a software job. It would probably just be a job because I would need income. Like, if I lost my job tomorrow, it doesn't matter what I do. I just need income. Like, I just need to get money coming in the door so my family doesn't starve and we don't lose our home, you know? But that's how I do it, man. I hope that helps answer your question, Kunal. Muaz? I don't know how to say your name. Hey, I hope you're doing well. Kindly accept my request on Discord after your live stream. It's Muaz or Muaz's CR. Yeah, I can accept it for sure. Although I don't see an application pending. Maybe I have to refresh the page. Oh, yeah, now I see it. We have two pending. There you go. You're approved. And you're approved. Thank you. Of course, Kunal. Yeah, I wish it was more. I wish it was more sophisticated than that, but that's what it is. Do you think learning C as my first language is a good idea? I think some people would say it's a good idea. I usually just tell people to learn JavaScript as their first language, but in CS50 they actually start with CS50 is like a really famous Harvard free Harvard course that people can take online. I mean, you can take it in person if you're a Harvard student, but you can take it online too. Um, and they actually teach, I think they teach Scratch, and then which is like an MIT visual programming language, and then they teach C, and then I think they teach Python. So, I mean, I guess depending on who you're talking to, it may or may not be a good idea. I usually just tell people to start with JavaScript, but why not, man? If you want to do C, do C. There you go. See, Oblivious strongly recommends C as first. There you go. There's definitely people that jive with that. Bro, I just feel so like not sure what to do. Learning C as first language will make you a better programmer. Well, there you go. See, there you go, Almighty. Lots of cosigns on learning C first. This is literally where I've been for the last 40 minutes. And I need to get unstuck. So what I need to do Thanks, buddy. And yes, it's Muas. Okay, yeah, Muas. Sorry, I didn't know for sure how to pronounce it, and I do care how I pronounce people's names. It's just Sometimes my American tongue is not super great at saying non-English names, which I do apologize for. Like, why do these need to be separate things? Why can't I derive the size from keeping track of the circuit itself? Um, See, the problem is let's say I have a list of lists, right? So if I have a list of lists, and inside here, right? Let's call this list a list of coordinates is basically a circuit, right? So if I have this is circuit 1, and let's say this is circuit 2, the problem is every time I process an edge, I have to figure out if there is a coordinate in this circuit that overlaps with the coordinate in the edge, right? Because to start with, every edge is its own circuit, basically, to begin with. So the problem becomes then when I loop, I have to then say for, so if I do circuits, right? Then what I have to do is I have to say for circuits range over circuits, right? And so see, you can very quickly see this becomes not efficient. But maybe this is where I start, and maybe then I can figure out how to go from this to something that is more efficient. So if we're looping over the circuits, we're basically going to check and see, right? So inside each circuit is again so now we're 3 loops deep, right? So each circuit consists of a list of coordinates. And so what we would do is we'd say if edge dot start equals coordinate, right? Then it's like, okay, this already is in the circuit, already in this circuit. Or if edge dot end equals coordinate. Yeah, and this is dumb. This is so dumb. We're 3 loops deep at this point. This is not Yeah, this is this is not smart at all. Oh, sorry. This should be circuit. So I guess what I'm thinking is if neither of these things, so let's start. We start with empty circuits. Well, actually, what we could do is we could actually just not do this loop. Oh no, we need to do that. So I guess every circuit actually, our circuits actually gets initialized to this. What do I mean by that? Is every every junction box is its own circuit to begin with, right? So that's what I guess what I'm thinking is. So for coordinate in coordinates, we will do circuits dot append, right? So again, this is not, I know this is not the right code. I know this is not good code, but I'm stuck. And so I'm trying to move myself down the field some amount. And I'm quickly running out of time as well. It's 6:50. I only have 10 minutes. I don't know if I'm gonna get this one solved today, guys. This is Steven stuck. So basically, we start with a circuit. Every circuit is just a list of coordinates, and it's just a single junction box. So if the edge, okay, so if we're here, what are we doing, right? So what are we doing here? Well, yeah, what are we doing here? I don't know. I guess my thought was for this particular circuit, yeah, I guess this was my thinking, was this actually. So I was thinking if the coordinate start is in here already, right, then we just want to tie our end node to the coordinate or to the circuit, right? So continue. And if our edge dot end is equal to a coordinate, oh, actually we want to break. So if we find the start coordinate in there, then we want to add the end coordinate to the circuit. If we find the end coordinate in there, then we want to add the start coordinate and break. So I think we do circuit dot append edge dot end. Otherwise, we do append edge dot start, like that, and then we need to say circuits equals circuits, or circuit at I equals circuit. I don't even know if that's valid code because I'm mutating the thing I'm iterating over. If none of this is true, meaning if the edge start and the edge end aren't found, is or was connected equals false. So was connected gets set to true here, and it gets set to true here. So we'll say if was connected well, hold on. Does that make any sense? So I'm already building up Dude, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I guess this is the fun part of coding, but also the maddening part of coding, or trying to solve a problem like this. What happens if I run this code? A bunch of crazy stuff happened. Oh, I don't want to print the edges. Let's print the circuits. What happens? It looks like we don't ever change anything. Oh, that's probably because we don't ever actually update the original thing. So we'll do circuits, add I, append the circuit. I mean, we could use pointers, I think, too, and just do this by mutating the actual. Let's see, circuit I. It's not this one we want to get rid of. Cannot use append as a coordinate value in assignment. Oh, that's because I don't want to append it. I just want to assign it. Sorry. Okay, so now we're actually mutating the thing. So this is crazy. This is not gonna work. So we end up creating a bunch of shit that's super long and makes no sense when printed to the console. So let's just what if we do for this circuit range over circuits, and let's just print the length of C. I mean, this is a pretty small input, right? So like imagine this with our actual valid input, this is not going to work. Yeah. So We just have huge, huge collections of things. Um, hmm. You know, you know you've written problematic code when you do that, right there. 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock. I really don't want to put this down though, because I feel like I can solve it, but I don't think I completely know the right way to represent the data structure that I want to represent. Um, you know, take a break. Yeah, I think I'm at that point, honey, where I probably need to step away and come back to this. I just feel like I feel like I'm right. It's like right there, you know. Um, and conceptually I get it, right? I need to build these circuits which are essentially separate graphs. And as I'm building up those circuits, I need to be able to detect when two circuits have now become one, right? Um, okay. So this is okay. I'm gonna go back to my original thought that I had. My original thought was to keep track of. Could you do the hand gestures again, please? I noticed my favorite programmers obsess over small, clean code. Oh, for sure, yeah. I think I heard DHH talk about the fact that he gets a lot of enjoyment from like smoothing, like making the code more smooth, you know? And there is a very enjoyable experience to like once you have something working, there's this very enjoyable experience of like carving your working solution into like a nice, elegant, functional solution. Subtraction versus additive, for sure, for sure. Yeah, when is Kelsey gonna bring out her own channel, huh? I don't know what I would stream. You could stream anything, honey. People would love just to probably hang out with you. Odd Henry. Nice username, man. Odd Henry. Well, well, well. Okay, delete all this. This is all wrong. This is so wrong. um, so my initial idea, this was my initial idea. My initial idea is I need some way to track the size and the structure. Yeah, I guess the size and the thing something belongs to. So I don't really know what this would look like. Yeah, I'm gonna do circuits, right? And I guess a circuit has a root. I guess it does. So if I did a circuit like this, I don't have one of those, but let's say I did have one. Let's say I have a type of circuit which is a struct. Control Alt Delete. Where's Pablo? Yeah, where is Pablo? I know he's usually the one that helps me out of these champs. Although I don't really want someone to help me out because I think I can do this. I know I can do this. It's just a matter of sticking with it and thinking through it and trying stuff. So here's my thought: is every particular circuit is going to have, I guess I'll call it a root coordinate is what I'll call it. I don't know if that's the right terminology. Try to calculate for the first 10 and expand it to more, yeah. Well, that's what we have to do, yeah. That's the so the example problem I think is only 20, or you have a line of 20 inputs, but you only have to do 10 hold on, sorry. I lost where do they say that? After making, yeah, 10. So you have 20 inputs but on your example, but you only care about the first 10, the first shortest 10 connections. But I think this is what I want to do. I think this is what I want to do. Okay, what if our coordinate, get this, okay, what if our coordinate Okay, this is gonna be weird, but just hear me out. What if our what if our coordinates track who its parent is, right? So to start, and this actually shouldn't be a coordinate. This actually should be a junction box if we're using domain-specific language. Um, yeah, actually, let's do that. Let's rename this to junction box like that. And let's rename this to connection. And this needs to be renamed to new junction box. And we'll do invalid junction box. So what if we then come up here and let's rename this to, we're going to rename this to boxes. Why, I don't know why the naming doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but I think this will make it a little clearer for my brain to think about. So we have connections. We have the number of boxes, start in, yes. The connections have a distance. Okay, so we got everything renamed. That's good. Oh, the only thing we didn't rename was the edge. This should not be edge. This should be connection. And I'm actually going to call it, let's call it just So what if every junction box had a reference to its parent junction box is my thought. So basically and we could keep, and our junction boxes can keep track of when they get attached to something, right? So the idea is this has a parent, and that parent is a junction box. Now, oh, can I not do that? Oh, it can't refer to, okay, I didn't know that. Why can't you do that? In Go. Did I just learn something new about Go? Go structs cannot reference themselves. However, a struct can contain a pointer to an instance of its own type, which is a standard way to create self. Oh, so you could do I think this is where like my Go knowledge is limited, huh? So it's saying that I can do this. Okay. Steven, thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate it. Steven, nice to meet you. I'm Steven. I'm Steven as well. Yeah, so let's try this real quick. So we have this new junction, and so let's say box is going to be equal to junction. Hold on. I don't know if this makes any sense. So this is going to be box, and then what we're going to do is we're going to return the box, But before we return it, we're going to say the box's parent is equal to a pointer to itself. And then how does that help us, right? That's the question. Is like, okay, so great. Um, how does that help us? I don't think does that help us? I guess my thought was that if I track the parent, then as I process them, I can resolve the chain, right? I can figure out who's connected to who. Was my thinking? Hmm. Hmm. I think I'm gonna have to take a break because I'm not making any progress, and I think I'm making it worse by trying to think of clever ways to do this, and I don't know if it needs to be that clever. That's the thing. I guess the thought I have is why can't every circuit have a root? Like why can't my circuits why can't it be like this where I know you guys are I'm like yelling at you guys, but like I'm not yelling at you guys. Why can't it be as simple as tracking a root? So we'll say um, junction box, right? A root junction box, and the size, right? So a circuit is basically a single entry, and it's a root mapped to a particular size. So okay, then I have my edges, and I range over my edges, right? Or no, I call them something different. Sorry, not edges, connections. I'm calling them connections. So for connection, let's do connection, range over connections. Hello, Wilo Gamer Pro. How did it go with the graphs? Not good, man. Not good. We've been struggling for the last, let's see, now we're at almost an hour. An hour and 15 minutes of just deleting, I've been basically for the last hour, I've been writing for loops, deleting for loops, writing for loops, deleting for loops. uh, um, and I basically run out of time. I need to set this down and take a break. We'll have to come back tomorrow morning and try to figure this out. Hello, I love lamp. Dude, are you yelling at me, I love lamp? Okay, this is where I draw the line. You can't yell at me unless you're a member. You gotta give me my 99 cents if you want to yell at me. um, I think I have to start. So um every circuit in my thing it starts. Every junction box starts as a circuit, right? So for box range over junction or boxes, right? And we're just gonna say, okay, well, each circuit starts as that box, and it just has a size of 1. Everyone starts at 1, right? And then from there, that's where we start to iterate over our connections, and we start to figure out, okay, yeah, it's interesting. So as we process these connections, what do we do here, right? Let's write this. Let's write what I'm thinking. I love lamp. You mean I love lamp. Respect your elders. I'm a buy it deal. Go for it, man. You give me my 99 cents. You're welcome to order me to reply to you. I probably won't listen. I don't listen super well to being ordered around unless you pay my salary. But 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 I'll happily take your 99 cents to be one of my YouTube members. Okay, I think I'm onto something. I think I'm onto something here. Fly Fisher, member for 2 months. Thanks, man. I appreciate you being a member for 2 months. It's very kind of you. Good to see you too. Hope you're doing well. I thought you were already a member. I thought you were already on my members list. What's up, Steven? Yeah, nothing much, man. Just we're struggling through this problem that I can't really. I think I've wrapped my head around it, but I haven't wrapped my head around it. So. Coffee's good though. We're having Ethiopian coffee this morning. It's very good. I think I need to go back to my drawing really quick to try to see if I can't reason through this. But I think I need to be able to look at my code and see. Hold on. I'm going to take my drawing just slightly off to the side, right? So let's take this apart here. Okay, so we have some examples here that we're working on. So let's just say 1 and 3 are first connection, right? Well, 1 and 3 are both going to be in my circuits already, right? So when I come through this graph and I check to say, okay, is start in my connection or in my circuits map? It is. So I should add 3 to it. Oh, actually, here's where I fucked up. I don't want to go over every connection. I only want to go over the first 10, right? So limit is 10 for now. We'll change this to a variable to pass in. So we really only want to take from the beginning. We want 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want, yeah. So this would be limit, right? format print line. I'm fully aware that like I've totally run out of time and I'm ignoring the fact that my time is up. But I can't set this down. Yeah, so that's the first 10, right? They're ordered. So what I say is I say if let's see. Connect start, right? So this would mean if our circuits contains the connections start, which it will. I mean, it will because our map has all of our circuits in it, all of our junction boxes in it. What we would want to do, what would we want to do? We basically want to do the similar thing with the end. Sorry, this is not. I don't know, man. Every time I feel like I understand, this is me starting to crash out. Every time I feel like I understand the problem and I feel like I have a beat on the problem, it just disappears on me. Fuck, dude, day 8's gonna defeat me. The problem is because if I can't solve this, if I have to end the stream without solving this, I'm gonna perseverate on this all day. But I know I can't really touch it until I come back to stream tomorrow morning. Which is could I mention the thing that I'm not sure you're thinking about? Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure. I'm so stuck now, so you can definitely try to nudge me in the direction that I'm or try to prompt me. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, that's 10. When an edge is between two boxes that are already in their separate circuits, those two circuits become one. Yeah, I think I see what you mean. Well, you're basically saying you can't have, like, if you have 1 and 3 and you have 1 and 2, right? So that would be one of our, this could be a connection. These could be connections that we have. These become their own circuit, like this, right? And so I guess my thinking was, in this case, when I use my map, I guess my thinking was there should be some way I can figure that out, right? There should be some way I can say, okay, 1 is connected to 3, and 1 is connected to 2. So basically 1 has a circuit size of 2 at this point. It has a circuit size of 2, And so at this point, I'd be able to say, oh, well, there's an overlap here, right? These two nodes overlap. So now what I could do is I could say, oh, well, now since there's an overlap here, I just need to increase the size of this circuit by 1. I guess that was my thinking with the map. Example, circuit 1, 2, 3, 4, circuit 5, 6, 7. Then you get edge 5, 1. It's now 1, 2, 3. It's not always one more. Yes, okay. So again, my thought would be with having a map of the sizes is if I treat something like kind of the root, if I treat something as like the root junction box, in this case, I guess in your example, circuit number 1 would be the root and 5 would be the root in the other circuit, then I'd be able to say something like let's add 6 to this one over here. So this would be like that. So I guess what I'm thinking is, okay, well, junction box 6 is my root. And oh, yeah, I guess I see. Well, yeah, so let's say these are my existing circuits. Yeah, these are my existing circuits. And then let's say we have a connection. That's the piece I'm missing on the screen. So we have a connection like this. Oops. I've made this drawing half dozen times now, and I don't think, every time I think it's helping, it doesn't help me. So I guess now what I'm thinking is, let me move all this out of the way so I don't get confused myself. So I guess at this point what I'm thinking is, so this is a circuit in my map, and this is a circuit in my map. So this would be junction box 1 with a size of 2, and this would be junction box 6 with the size of 3. And so since there's an overlap here, the size doesn't increase. We look up, right? We're always looking up the map and saying, okay, 1 has an existing size of 2, and 6 has an existing size of 3. So I guess we'll just compact this to be under the 1 node. I guess at that point I'm sort of arbitrarily deciding what's a root and what's not a root, which I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you need to come down to singular. Yeah, exactly. I need to come down with singular roots. Exactly. Norsik, is he learning electrical engineering now? No, I'm not learning electrical engineering. I'm not smart enough for that. I'm trying to figure out how to solve day 8, part 1 of Adventive Code, and so far, I've gotten pretty far. Like I've gotten things parsed. I've got things sorted. And now I'm trying to work through the logic. But I need to pull the ripcord. Otherwise, I'm gonna derail the rest of my day's schedule. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to take an L today on day 8, part 1, and try to come back tomorrow morning and see if we can't catch up, because we need to tomorrow we'll need to do part 1 and part 2. So hopefully part 2 isn't like a complete, hopefully part 2 tomorrow isn't as hard as I found part 1 today. I guess is what I can hope for. It's going to be really hard for me to let this go for the rest of the day, though. I'll tell you this. So do not be surprised if you come back tomorrow and if I show up tomorrow and I'm like, I figured it out. That's because it's difficult for me to stop thinking about things like this. To do figure out how to treat particular junction boxes as roots. Then track as roots of a circuit and track the size of the circuit against the root. That's basically what we're talking about doing. Let's format print line for now. Connection. Alright. Alright. Alright guys, well I'm sorry I couldn't provide a satisfying ending to today's. There was no dopamine to be had, just lots of frustration. It still was fun. It was fun to work on it. I think these are these are the problems that teach you where the edges of your abilities and your knowledge are, and so you can figure out how to grow and how to close those gaps. So that's what we're gonna do. I appreciate you, Norsik, for stopping by and hanging out. Oblivious, thanks for all the help and encouragement. Appreciate it. It's very kind. Norsik, I saw your question. I don't know. I don't have any advice on how to get into robotics. As far as getting into IT, I think the key is just to get your foot in the door somehow, right? So take the help desk position, take the lowest entry level position you can. And then once you're in the door, it's a lot easier to start acquiring the skills and knowledge to move up or into the kind of desired position that you want to work in. But as far as the robotics go, I wouldn't even know where to start there. All right, guys. Let's see. Normal wrap up. So if you want to hang out with me or chat outside of stream, the best place to find us is our Discord. Stream Elements will hook you up with the link there in chat in just a second. If you liked the stream and you enjoyed watching me flail and utterly fail at figuring out how to properly deal with a undirected graph data structure, you're welcome to come back. My schedule is normally 4:15 a.m. to 7 a.m. Almost every morning. So I'll put my schedule there again in the chat just for your reference. If you want to come hang out, please do. As far as content goes for my streams, the content for my streams will pretty much look like this for the remainder of December, or at least until Christmas, because we're going to work on Advent of Code every day. And then after Advent of Code is over, we'll start on some side projects. So I have lots of side projects that I'd like to build and work on and learn things with. So if you're interested in watching somebody not do prompt driven development and build software in the old style of the prehistoric programmers of the past, you're welcome to be here. I mean, I do use AI, I don't spin up like 10 terminals of Claude code and let it rip. So if you're interested, come hang out. Obviously no pressure. And then if you see me live and you just want to stop in and say hi, I appreciate that as well too. It's always nice to see familiar faces. All right, chat. I'm gonna go upstairs and return to my real life and give up on my streamer life. Renee, it's okay, Steven. Not every day needs to be a home run. Well, I appreciate that, sir. You're making me feel better about it. I am probably gonna fixate on this for the next several hours. It's really hard for me to let problems go like this. especially when I feel like I'm on the cusp of. Because what Oblivious said is my problem. I mean, with the way I designed my solution, that is my problem. So, okay, I'm not. I just need to let. I need to let it go. Okay. All right, chat. Thank you, Renee. That's very kind of you, though. That's very encouraging, and I appreciate that. And you're right. Not every day needs to be a home run. Ted Williams, I think, batted 400, right? Which means 6 out of the 10 times he got up to the plate, he got out. So. All right, guys. Bye, Renee. Bye, Norsik. Bye, Oblivious. Flyfish, if you're still here, appreciate you being a member for 2 months. That's very kind. I appreciate all your guys' support. Just the viewership is cool, but the fact that you'd be willing to give me some of your money to support what I'm doing here on my channel, that's unbelievably kind and too generous, more than I deserve. So, all right, guys, bye, y'all. Bye. See you, chat. See you guys. Have a good day.